Welcome to Flosstube number 6. Today is the last day of my annual leave, so tomorrow I'm back at work and I work full time, so I won't have nearly as much time for stitching as I've had over the past weeks. But never mind, so I thought this very last day I will do a Flosstube on all my progress. And after that my Flosstubes will be once a month, so I think that will be a nice time frame to have enough progress to show you and enough time to do the editing properly, etc. So I have a few fully finished objects that I've been making these past weeks. Then I have some progress on, I think, about 7 pieces that I've been working on. And then I have some haul or plans. I think they sort of come together. And then I will put in a video that I've made a week ago when I was at my parents' place with about 13 fully finished objects. And if you want to go straight to that, I will put in the time when that starts. I'll put that on the screen somewhere so you can fast forward to that. And I'm just gonna, there we go. Right. Where to start? I will start with my fully finished pieces, which are mainly pillows, because I received the sewing machine from that very kind viewer who was kind enough to send me her sewing machine, and I have been sewing. So I have watched several tutorials on sewing, and I'll be honest, I've gone with the easiest way to make a pillow. So the sewers amongst us might look at this and think, no, that's not the best way to do it, but this is the way I can do it, and I think the results are lovely. It's very much a beginner's machine, which is perfect for me. And I've never worked with a sewing machine other than when I was in primary school, and we used to do that with our sewing teacher. But I've never really sewn by myself. So yeah, I have been sewing by myself. And the first one I made was this little pillow with the bunny. I started with this one because if it was going to go wrong, this one I could bear. So this is the one I started with. But I think it went okay. It's not entirely square. I had to get used to making a straight line underneath the machine, but I think it's fine. I'm happy. I will be happy to display this around Christmas time. I put a little bow on it and a little rose here in the corner. The back is not great. I wasn't sure because I do the process where you sort of stitch all around it and then you cut a hole in the back, stuff it, and then you cover the hole. You sew the hole and then you cover the hole. And most of you do that with sort of like wool. In Dutch we say vilt. And I'm not a fan of filts, so I thought I'll just do it with fabric. And then it was sort of coming through, so I don't like this back at all, and I might cover it at some point, but for now I'm happy with the front. And it was my first one, so maybe I'll leave it like this because it's nice to see where you're coming from, isn't it? So yeah, happy with this little bunny that has become very, very cute. The pattern I will put in, for all my patterns I will put in the description box where it's from, etc., and who the designer is. Right, then I moved on to my dogs because all this happened because of the dogs. The dogs I made, the Lanarte kit I made when I was a teenager, and I thought, I've done one, I can do another one of the pillows. I know the process, so it shouldn't go wrong. So because I was quite scared to mess up these dogs, but I didn't, and it became a pillow, and it now lives behind me there on that little place that's currently empty. So this is living there at the moment. So this was a Lanarte kit. It is stitched on even weave, and it's an old kit. I recently saw it on, was it eBay or Marktplaats? Not sure, but it's regular shops don't really sell it anymore. And I think this back is nice. So I rolled the fabric up a little bit, gave it a good press, and then glued it on there and used these tiny, tiny pins. And I think this is nice. The only thing I should have done is line it up so that it would have been perfectly, like with the whole pattern, it would still be a straight line. I didn't do that, but one learns as one goes. And I think this still looks quite neat in the back. And I think this is really, really cute. I'm very happy with this one. So those who suggested making a pillow out of it, thank you for suggesting that. I am very happy with the final result. Yeah, I really love this. So there you go. That's that one. Then I moved on to my Christmas pillows because I made 2 Shannon Christine designs that I wanted to make into pillows, and so I did. And these are the results of that. So this is Looks Like Christmas from Shannon Christine, and this is the Holly Jolly, which is a Christmas Club August, I think. That is both on her website, shannonchristine.com. This one I changed because this one had a lot of Kryneck stars in, and I changed that. I talk about that in my previous Flosstube. And now it matches with this because I added the snowflakes instead. So I made this one very similarly to this one. I think in size they're quite similar as well. This back is not as neat as the dog ones, but hey, there you go. And I just love this. I can just see this in a little basket with Christmas lights and some pine cones and some baubles. It's gonna be lovely. And this one was the first one where I thought, oh, I'd like a bit of red because otherwise it'd be a very tiny pillow. And I thought I'd like a bit of red at the bottom. So I just before I did this regular process, I added a bit of fabric on the front and just put a few pins in it to keep it in place. So this bit is not stitched because, and I did that on purpose, I would like to put a bit of holly or something in here come Christmas time. So that's why I left it open so I can put something in it to add to the pillow. Yeah, I'm very, very happy with these, and I think they go perfectly together. And I look forward to displaying these on Christmas. So that was all my pillow making, and I really enjoyed my pillow making. It was great fun, and I will make more in the future. Sure. And this is not cross stitch, but I'll show you very quickly because the sewing was lovely, and I thought I want to sew a bit more because I'm enjoying it. So I went to a local sewing needle point shop and got some fabric and made a few book sleeves. So this is not yet a project bag because a project bag needs a zipper, and that's a whole different beast. So I went for something that didn't have a zipper just to get used to the sewing. And this is a book sleeve for quite a big book. But I have a few books that are quite big, so this is a nice size for that. And I made a smaller one for my smaller books. Like, for instance, my favorite writer, Max Lucado's books. Most of them will fit into the smaller ones. But yeah, I'm so pleased with these it's so much fun to turn your fabric round and see it happening. And so yeah, I was very happy with these. Proper sewers amongst us, don't look too closely because it's not all as straight as it should be. But yeah, I'm very pleased. I had a bit of trouble getting this around properly. My machine is very much a beginner's machine. It has only a few options in what kind of stitch you want to use. But it's fine for making things like this. So I really enjoyed it. So again, thank you very much to the anonymous sender. She's not anonymous to me, but would like to remain anonymous for all of you. But yeah, thank you very much. So that was all my sewing, and then I did some stitching. And we'll start with the piece that I think next time we'll speak will be finished, because I'm flying through this. It is such a lovely, lovely piece to work on. This is, put it on the screen properly. You won't see me like this. Oh, there we go. That's better. This is the Seaside sampler by Durene Jones, and it is from her Etsy shop. And I think this is beautiful. The colors are lovely. It's coming alive so beautifully. I think this is one of the reasons why I love stitching on this. It's just, with every stitch, it comes alive. Like these little houses, it's just sort of happening in front of your eyes, and it just makes you want to stitch just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And it's, yeah, it's just so pretty. I'll put it up for a close-up. I can't fully see what I've been doing just now, but I hope you've seen a close-up. So I just have a house left here. This is a laundry washing line with a bit of laundry on it. So just a house, these bits, and then some sky up here, and then it's finished. Oh, I have a bit of back stitching, so there's a few birds here and there that will go in. I'll do that, and then it's done. And I think this is a piece that I will have framed by a framer, and then I will take it to my office, because my office buddies kept saying, why don't you stitch something for the office? And I thought, why don't I? So I think this will be nice. We live and we work close to the beach, so we often do our lunch walks near the water. So I think this will be nice. People will like this. So yes, very happy with this. So next time, hopefully, I can I can show you at least a finished object, or this will be at the framers. It's one or the other. But yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm really enjoying stitching this. It's stitched on the 16 count, which is slightly big. So it's not, maybe it's a 15 count that doesn't exist, but that's sort of what it's moving to. Yeah, happy. If you want to stitch something nice, I recommend this piece. Then I had a new start. Now, I have been shopping over the past weeks, and it was my holiday mind. I was allowed. As I bought 2 kits, and then I have some other patterns that I want to start, so I'll share those in my plans. But this one I already started, and this is a Lanarte kit, and it's quite an old kit, and I don't know from when it was, but it is quite old. But it is so pretty. This to me is a perfect Dutch scene. It's the water there, that lovely house, and then a tower, usually a church tower. It's just so pretty. The middle bit, so the picture that really pops, is stitched, and then that light blue around it, so like this, is printed onto the fabric. So that is not something that is being stitched. So it comes quite close where you actually start your stitching, because it has to be in the middle of that blue printed bit. So I started it. This is on an even weave, and I think it's a 24 count, but I'm not entirely sure. But my crosses are relatively big compared to my regular work. And most of the water is stitched with 1 strand of floss. So only the little pole and the bird currently is stitched with 2 strands. So it is quite light, but it does give the water a nice It looks nice on the water that I've been stitching. So I think I've lined it up right. So because this is exactly sort of lined up with the print. So I think I'm in the right place. And if I'm not, then this is just what it is. So yeah, this is the stitching. The bird still needs the back stitching, obviously, that I haven't done yet. I have to get used a little bit again to even weave, and I find that counting. So if I want to move ahead, then I have to skip a few empty squares because another color needs to go there. I'm not as brave with that on even weave as I am on Ada, but I'm getting there again. And the fabric does feel nice. It's nice and soft. So that is nice to stitch on. So I'm happy with this new start. I think it's very pretty. And I look forward to seeing the end result, especially because of the printing around it. I think that's quite unique. And it'll look nice in a frame. Right, moving on to a piece that I'm doing for my sister, and I will put it on the screen for you. This is from an Etsy shop. I think it's LaserArtDesigns, and they call it River and Mountains, or Mountain and River Watercolor. And they have numerous designs, so if you would like to stitch a similar one, you can really have a look at their Etsy shop. They have plenty to pick from. And this is where I am at the moment. Now when I started with quite a lot of green. So there's 2 colors of green in it. I think 561 if that's a green, and 500 DMC. And I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. I even considered maybe using another count, going to 18 count. This is 16 count. And I thought, I don't know what it is. I'm not sure this is happening. So yesterday I thought I'm just gonna put in other colors and see what's happening. And it has come alive. So this is the river. And I really like it. I think it's very pretty. I've added quite a lot of blues in there. And it's really coming alive. So close up, because it is sort of a watercolor design, the close up doesn't look like something. From a distance, it will look absolutely gorgeous. I am pretty sure. Sorry, the camera does have to change focus here and then. Yeah, that's me again. There we are. So this one I'm making for my sister. So Marloes, I hope you like it. And I will continue with this. This is one of those things where I just want to keep going because again, things are happening and I just want to see what's happening if I add a few more stitches. And I think this will be beautiful when it's finished. The little needle minder is from a French shop, and I have others bought from a different French shop, but this one I found on Etsy, and I thought this was such a cute one. A little bird on cups. So yeah, I love needle minders. It's one of my weaknesses. Right, so that's the piece for my sister. Happy with that one. Then I did some stitching on my rainbow squares. Now this is only going to be a piece I can stitch on the train because I have quite a lot of traveling to do the coming weeks, months. So this is a perfect piece to use for that. And it's not easy to find a piece that is so good. So I've decided to just leave this, not stitch on this at home and only take this for traveling. But this is where I am at the moment. So I've done a little bit more on my travels to and from Groningen. And the needle minder again is from that little shop. It's a beautiful butterfly. I really like this pattern. And again, this is one of those that comes alive as you go along. And each square is like, oh, that's nice. Let's do another one. And then you never stop. You never stop. So yeah, this is lovely. I have no idea what to do with it once it's finished, though. I have no idea. It might be a nice pillow. See, I know how to make pillows now, but I can't just make pillows, so I don't know. If anyone has a good idea what to do with something this size, let me know. Because this is too pretty to just put in a drawer. So that's that one. And then I have Farben des Wassers, which is a piece by historical Stickmuster, and I'm stitching this for my mum. And I've done quite a lot. I've taken this with me to Groningen when I visited my parents for about a week, and I've done quite a lot on it. So I am currently on 20 squares, and that means I have 16 to go. So I'm well past the halfway point. And I love this. It is just so elegant. It's just an elegant stitch. And I still stitch on this on Sundays mainly, except for the week I was at my parents' house. I stitched on it, I think about 4 days, because I did several squares. This is stitched on 20 count Aida, and I use the Soie d'Alger floss, and then I use 1 strand of floss, and the coverage is lovely. Yeah, this one, when it's finished, I'll be sad, but they have others, so I'll make another one, because it's just a fancy stitch. It's so pretty, and the colors are so beautiful. It just works together. When I put these in, because it's quite dark green that I didn't have much of yet, it sort of gave it a whole different balance, and it's just yeah, it's just so pretty, this piece. So I'm very happy about this. This is the full height of it, so it's 6 squares. So I need to add 2 more rows on this side, but this is fully there. So that was an accomplishment when I had that done. So yeah, happy with this piece. It's beautiful and it's coming along nicely. And it will continue to be my Sunday stitch. I did a square earlier today, so that felt good. Right, moving on to my full coverages. Because I've done some work on my, is it Night Aura or something? I'm not entirely sure. This is called, but this is by Artisy, and the designer is Leonid Efremov, something like that. I have stitched this area since we last spoke, and this area. So I've done quite a nice, and I've also added bits here and there, and the lady has been more defined. So I've done quite a lot actually. And I love this piece. It is so bright, and there are so many colors in there. And it's a lot of confetti, you all know that. But and again, my back is just, I'll show you the back in a minute. It's yeah, very different. I'll show you 2 of my backs. So this one's, yeah, it's not as neat. But the front is beautiful, and I am loving this one. I have done 3 full pages, so I think it's sort of here where the page break is. So it's 3 full pages, and it is 9 pages in total, so I've got a third at least done. And I'm just enjoying every moment I'm stitching on this. This is done on 16 count Aida, and it has a lot of colors. Yeah, very happy with this one. I bought also these, and they have a little weight in them. So they are very nice when you're stitching, because they really hang out of the way. But when I show you, it does give a bit of strain here and there. But I do like these, because it really it's a better system than I had earlier with the hair clips, which wasn't perfect. I'll show you the back, which is this. So you can see it is just a lot of colors. You can see how I pull my thread through to get everywhere it needs to go. You can still see a bit of the pattern, but yeah, it is a bit of a mess. But it is, for me, the only way to get this done. It's too difficult otherwise. I'll show you another back to show you that I do know how to work very neatly. So there you go, that's much better. But yeah, the back it depends on how you're stitching. So this is quite straightforward. Has a lot of block colors, so it's quite easy. But yeah, the one from Artisy has so much confetti stitching. It's just very difficult to keep the back neat. Right, and that moves me to my final, and it's a new start actually. My full coverage Heaven and Earth design. So I started a 700 by 700. Crazy, I know, but the artwork is so pretty. Peacocks in Flowers, it's called. It's absolutely beautiful, and I just want to make this, even though it's going to take about 20 years of my life. I'll accept that because it's beautiful. So I have started, and I ordered a 22 count, what I thought was Ada, from Wales, and when it arrived, I realized it was not Ada, but it was even weave. So, and this was even weave, where you can really get your needle through from one hole to the other, every other stitch. So my stitches were sort of getting behind the fabric, disappearing behind the fabric. And I know there are ways around it, but it did mean I have to change my way of stitching. And because this is such a massive piece, I do want to stitch at my own speed. And I use the sewing method. I use the Victorian sewing method. So I swap my piece around so I can always go from right to left. And I do 4 crosses at a time. And that's for me the easiest and the quickest and the most pleasant way to stitch. So I decided not to use that fabric and instead go with a 20 count Ada. So I ordered that in, and then when it arrived, I had to make the choice to either do 2 strands of floss or 1 strand of floss. And I decided, after trying both out, to go with 2 strands of floss. Now, I think about a year ago I wouldn't have dared to, because, and I think my stitching has just become neater, because I would have been too worried about it being bulky. And now it is not bulky, it's fine with 2 strands of floss. And that does surprise me, because I didn't think it would be. I've made a decent start on it, I think. This is about 2,000 stitches. Excuse all the threads that are hanging, but obviously that's just how this works. And yeah, I think it's beautiful. They're beautiful colors, and it's lovely to work with. It is a lot. I work on it every morning so far anyway. We'll see if I can keep that up when I'm back at work. And I don't have to do a certain amount of stitches, but I just like working on it in the mornings. I started at first, and you can sort of see it there. You can see it like this quite well. The lines that I have from the first squares of 10 by 10 I have done. You can see it in the top corner. There's about 2 lines. And I did a few of those squares, and then I thought I'm not going to do this because it's going to be a grid. You can see the grid. So I've gone onto the diagonal, and I love that way, way better. So you can't, but you can still see it sort of there, 2 lines. But I've decided to keep it in, not take it out. It's fine. It'll be a massive piece when this is finished. I think it will be about 86 by 86 centimeters. So no one's going to notice those 1 centimeter bits. Yeah. And look at the needle minder. See, this is the needle minder I really wanted, because it is a peacock in flowers, so it fits so beautifully. So this is the one I really wanted, and then I thought, well, it has to come all the way from France, so I should order a few more. So that's how that happened. And I stitch like this, so I stitch in hand, and I have it, at the moment I have it folded like this, and I hold it up. And also I bought a daylight lamp, because this is 20 count, so it is quite small. And in the evenings it's getting darker again, so I decided to treat myself to a daylight lamp, and it makes such a difference. It is, I'm in love with it. It's a lovely thing, and it really helps with this tiny stitching. So yes, I've started my Heaven and Earth designs. I won't finish it for another 20 years, but that's okay. I'm really enjoying the process so far. I'm enjoying the colors, and I look forward to watching this grow. And it will be, again, it will be a slow process, and that's okay. Right, that's all my progress. Then I have a few pieces that I want to start. Again, I've been shopping, so and also when I'm back at work, and I work 5 days a week, I don't have time to do all of it, and so it's nice to have a few pieces just ready, and if I want to grab them, I can. So the first one I decided on was a kit, and this is a kit from Marjolein and Bastin, and that is a part of Lanarte. I think she makes the design, and then she has, I think they said she has her own design team for the charting as well. And it is wildflowers, and this is also going to be done on an even weave fabric. But I think this is beautiful, so I fell in love with it, and I thought, why not? So I bought it. Then I realized I really wanted to stitch something in autumn colors as well, or something autumny. And I've been looking on Etsy, and sometimes the longer you stay on Etsy, the more you get to patterns that are quite sort of hidden, and they are not very well known. And I think this is one of those that is not very well known. It was a bit high in the price, I have to be honest, but it is very beautiful, so I decided to get it anyway. I think it's quite unique with the different pictures of the forest, and yeah, I think it's worth it. So this is one I will be starting. I will be starting this one on 18 count, because I've seen how nicely the 20 count works. So I'm going to try an 18 count on this one. This one will have quite a lot of confetti stitching, I think. So yeah, an 18 count for me will be absolutely fine. So that's my doorbell, but I'm gonna let it ring. So that's the one I will be doing, a foresty one. Then I have the lady who sent me a sewing machine also sent me quite a lot of scraps. And again, thank you very much. You didn't have to do that, but she did. And this is one of the scraps. It is a beautiful light blue Ada. Let me see if I have mine. And for quite a while, I had a pattern in my Etsy favorites, which is birds. And it's wintry birds, and it needed a blue background. And this is perfect for that, absolutely perfect. So I've kitted that one up, and I'm going to make that one, and I will put it on the screen so you can see it. But yeah, this is perfect fabric for that. I think it is an 18 count, I think, maybe 20. Yeah. And there's a whole strip of this, so I can make other things. There were many different colors in it. There was even weave, there was Ada. It was just, again, so kind of you to send me this. It was just, it felt like, I know a lot of you would say it felt like Christmas, but in the Netherlands we celebrate Sinterklaas, so it felt like Sinterklaasavond when I was opening that box with all those little goodies. Another piece of fabric she sent over was this one, also in Ada. I think this is a 20 count. And this is so beautifully rustic. And I will put on the other side of the screen, I will put the picture of the lavender I'm going to put on this, and I think that will be a nice pillow. So that is the idea for this, and I got the colors which I think go beautifully on this. So yeah, looking forward to stitching this one as well. Beautiful rich purples. Yeah, happy with this one, and greens. So those fabrics have a destination, and again for the others I will find something. I have no doubt. I think that's all I wanted to show you in regards to stitching and my progress and my plans. And when it comes to my Flosstubes, like I said, it will be once a month from now on. Next time I will add in some pictures I've taken when my mum and I were visiting museums in Groningen. And one in particular, I was allowed behind the barriers, and they took the alarm off everything so I could make a picture of a very old cross stitch and beading work. And I will show you that. I'll show you a picture of that then. And we went to another museum that I will tell you all about. It was a private, small museum that had just about everything on lace and clothing from years and years ago, and some crochet and also some cross stitch. And I was allowed to make pictures there as well, and I will show you that as well. And that will be all in the next Flosstube. Now we will move into the video that I made at my parents' house, and that will have about 13 FFOs, I think, from myself, from my mum, and from my grandmother. And I will do a bit of editing, so it might have some rough edges here and there, or just abrupt stops. I'm sorry about that. I have no idea. I still have to do the editing, but I'm warning you in advance. I hope you enjoy the pieces though. They are from different eras, so that might be nice to see. And I think that's it. So I thank you all again very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate the time you spend on it, the comments you put in, the likes you give me, and just the time you spend on watching my videos and my stitching and everything that I do. So thank you very much for that. And I hope to see you all again in a month. Thank you. Welcome to my parents' house. I am currently visiting in Groningen, which is the north of the Netherlands. And as promised, I have around 11 fully finished objects lying around me, and I will show those one by one. I had just started this Flosstube, but then I saw that I didn't have the right buttons pressed, so I can start again. I'm using my dad's laptop, so it's always a bit different with other people's stuff, but that doesn't matter. I will start with a picture of my mum, because most of the pieces you'll see today have been stitched by her. Then 2 pieces have been stitched by me, and 1.5 pieces have been stitched by my grandmother. So I come from a line of stitchers. This is my mum and my dad, just so you all have an idea. And as I said, most pieces have been stitched by my mum. Now I don't, for a lot of pieces I don't necessarily know the designer, and I will look it up before I put this video out. If I know it, I will put it on the screen, I will put it in the description box. But if I don't know it, some of it is several years old. So yeah, we'll see what I can find, and if I can't find it, I do apologize. The first piece I'm going to show you is a little piece that my mum made. I think she said she made it in school, and it's just a little, it's even weave, and the border is fully stitched as well. Gives a bit of Christmassy outlook because it's green and red, and then it has a lot of teapots on it. I'm not sure the camera is focusing properly. Oh, there it comes. There it comes. So there you go. She made this in school, and it's finished in the back with some kind of fabric. And we tried to iron it, but it is quite delicate, so it doesn't. We didn't dare to do a proper iron because it seemed to not like it very much. So that's the first piece, stitched by my mum. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, there it goes. It focuses now. It does focus when I do it like this. But I know some of you like close-ups. So this was an even weave. It's stitched 2 over 1. No, sorry, 2 over 2. Yeah, 2 over 2, but I don't know the count of the even weave. And that will go for most pieces I will show you, because I am no good at just seeing that. I went shopping a while ago, and I might have said it in my regular Flosstube already, but those are even weave, so I'm gonna stitch on even weave as well again. Right, the next one is a piece of my own, also a fabric piece. It's a towel. Now in my first Flosstube I've shown you a towel with roses on it, and this is a towel with a geometric design. This I found the pattern on Pinterest somewhere, and amended it a little bit so it fit my preferences, and then chose my own colors. And I was quite lucky that it fit quite well on the towel piece. And the colors I chose was green and purple. And the purple I think was 550, 552 and 553. And then the green is 501, 502 and 503. Those are my favorite greens in the full DMC collection. And I've used them here. So this is all DMC. And the fabric is just part of the towel. So it's not something I've sewn on separately. It's part of the towel. It's a Rico design towel that I bought near here. So I bought this during, I think it was Christmas, when my mum and I went shopping at her local craft shop, which is, I think, Susanne's craft shop in Hoogzand. And she sells quite a lot of wool for knitting and crochet, but she also sells a little bit of cross stitch, including these Rico design towels. And it's great quality. I think the Aida comes out to a 14 count, but I'm not sure. It doesn't really say anywhere. But I really enjoyed making this. I was making this at a time when I had a bit of back pain and neck pain, and I, more than just me, suffer from that, especially from stitching and you're looking down a lot. So I would just hang this up on the wall so I could stitch looking up straight, and it came out nice. I think it's pretty. And I like the colours. I think the colours are very nice. Very happy with those. So yes, I made this one, and since I'm here, we will visit Susanne's craft shop this week at some point. And I might get another towel if she still has this, has Rico design towels, because I think they are really very nice. And I like making a towel. It's nice to have a fancy towel in your bathroom. But this one I've gifted to my mum, so this one is living here. Moving on to a number of birth stitches. I have no idea what these are called in English. I heard a name recently, but I've forgotten. But this is what you make when someone is just born. And I know there are quite a lot currently going around as well. I saw a really nice one with sort of a flower and leaves. But these are from, this first one is from 1979, which is when my brother was born. So that's quite a long time ago. And all these, there are 5 of those, because I have 3 older brothers, and there's me, and then there's my sister. So that my mum made 5 of these. And they've all been framed in a similar frame. And I think that's been done by a framer. Let me see, yeah. So these are professionally framed. And this is the first one. Again, I don't know who the designer is, but I will try to find that out before I put this video out. So this is the name of my brother, Marco, and then the date of his birth, which is very similar to mine, and the time he was born. And I really like the flowery border. Is it a border? Not sure, but it's pretty. I'm not very fond of orange, but it's still a very pretty stitch. It has these little black thingies in there because these are quite old. I hope you can see properly. This is all stitched on even weave 2/2. So yeah, that's the first one. Very pretty. Moving on to the second one, which again is one of my brothers. My 3 brothers are all 3 of them are older than I am. So I think this is one of the prettiest. I think this might be my favorite, mainly because of this flower border. I think that is a beautiful flower border with beautiful colors. So again, my brother's name, his date of birth, and then the time he was born. So it's very similar to the other one in sort of setup of the whole thing. But I think I prefer this flower border to the other one. I think this one's very pretty. I hope this is close up enough for you. There you go. So that's the second one. And then 2 years later, my 3rd brother was born. And that's, we say Peter, but I think in English be Peter. And this is a different design. So this is a, it doesn't have the flowery border. It does have a clock. It has his name and his date of birth. And then it also has his centimeters and his weight stitched in. And I think this one is pretty. It's quite different from the other one. There's a full border around it that I quite like. It's quite dainty, this one. And the colours are nice as well. And then I will show my sister's first, because that one is very similar to this one, but obviously that one is done in pink. So as you can see, it's very similar. She also has, rather than the time, she has the place of birth. I'll pop this down for a second. Oh, sorry, wrong one. There you go, that's where she was born. So that's where I currently am, in Schildwolde. And her weight and her centimeters, date of birth and her name, which is Marloes. And so it's mainly different colors, but other than that, and the clock and the place of birth have been switched. But other than that, it's similar. The picture is similar, but in different colors. Again, very pretty, very dainty. It's finer than these, but I like the flower border on these, on the earlier ones. And then my own. I haven't always loved this, I'll be honest, but I do like the flower border. So mine is similar to my older brother's, and I do like the flower border again. I think those are very pretty. I have no idea if my mum still has the patterns, because the flower borders are worth stitching. But I've never liked that orange heart, so that one has, yeah, I've struggled with that one. And this was in 1986, and I was born the 4th of September at 1:45. So there you go. But I really like the flower border, and I think these might actually be my favorite color green that I just said, the 501 and the 502 and 503, because they seem very similar. So those are all our birth stitches. That's what I'm going to call them. I don't know the proper term, but that is what it's going to be. Moving on, I've got 4 more, and this is a piece I've stitched. I've told you that I did full coverage before, but I've never shown you a full coverage from me. Yeah, well, the nesting birds is relatively full coverage, but this is a proper full coverage. So this is from a stately home that is near where I am now. So it's about maybe 2 kilometers that way. And it's called the Vrijnemerborg, and I will put in some pictures that my dad has taken from that place. And it's a stately home. They often have artwork displayed. You can get married there. My brother and sister-in-law got married there. So it's very pretty. And then there used to be a stitchy shop in another village just the other side, and they had this sold as a kit. And I have no idea if they were the ones who chartered it up or that anybody else did. I haven't seen it anywhere. I don't think it's still sold. That shop doesn't exist anymore, so I don't think it's something you could still get. But I did get it then, and my mum framed it, so it's hanging in my parents' house at the moment, and it is full coverage. I think I've stitched it on Ada, but I can't see it anymore because it's fully stitched. But I think this was after the nesting birds, and that was even weave, and then I think this one was Ada, because I really enjoyed how easy it was. So it must have been Ada. There's a bit of glare, I'm sorry. There you go, that's better. I liked stitching it. I just thought that the sky was a bit boring because it has a lot of blues, and it's, as you can see, it's sort of 3 blues going from top to bottom, so you have 3 different kinds of blues. But other than that, I really enjoyed stitching it and seeing it coming to life, also because I know this building, so it has a meaning to me. So yeah, I was quite proud when this was finished, and I'm also quite happy with how it's really looking like that place. So yeah, this was fun to stitch, and obviously my parents loved it when I finished it and then framed it into a sort of a green frame with just a white thing around it. And I think this is very pretty. I have no idea how long I did on stitching this. At the time I didn't really keep count, but it did take quite a while. I do remember that. It's quite neat enough anyway. I'll try to show a close-up of it. I don't really like looking at it now. I don't like the coverage of the roof, the black. So maybe this was a 14 count, because there seems a bit of white sort of peeking through everywhere, which is fine looking at it from a distance, mind you, but looking from it up close is very different. Yeah, really enjoyable stitch. So there you go. That was my first full coverage that I just started and didn't think much of, and there you go. I finished it, happily so. So that's all my pieces done, and I've got 2 more beautiful pieces from my mum standing here. So I do have to lean over here because they're all lined up together. Now this one is from Lanarte. This one is one my mum made, and this one is designed by Marjolein Bastin. Now Marjolein Bastin is I think she's a Dutch designer, and she puts her art out under Lanarte. So I've shown you some Lanarte kits in my Flosstube, and this is one of those, and this is then designed by Marjolein Bastin. So she has a separate line within Lanarte, and I think her pieces are absolutely beautiful. And you can also buy her artwork on plates or cups, stuff like that, notebooks, calendars, but she also has cross-stitch designs. And this one is very difficult to find. I've looked at it here and there. You can still buy it, but it's quite rare at the moment. And she has many others out that are sort of similar to this. But I think this one is absolutely beautiful. So the yellowish here is part of the fabric, so that's not stitched. That's just part of the background. But all the rest is stitched. And she always does it on even weave. Yeah, even weave white. Again, I don't know the count, but I will show a close up. And I think on Flosstube there is not many people working on a Marjolein Bastin. Luda S might have done some, or shown some, not sure. Jessica Stitches is working on quite a big Marjolein Bastin. I think she's working on my favorite piece, which has the 4 seasons in. And Handwork Maniac also works on a Marjolein Bastin, which I think also is the big one with the 4 seasons in. So those are, and I will work on my Marjolein Bastin at some point. But this one I think is absolutely beautiful. And her artwork is so pretty, and it's usually about nature, some nature things, often birds, flowers, and again, you know I like my flowers. So yeah, this one is very pretty, and the frame suits it very well as well. So this was also professionally framed. Very, very pretty, this piece. I think this is one of my favorites that we have here. So there you are. And we'll put it down nicely. And then another one that my mum made, and I think she said it was, she started it and then it was finished by my grandmother. And this is quite a big piece. And I recently saw this being sold for $9.99, and I thought it was the full kit. So that is ridiculously cheap for an absolutely beautiful piece. Very big again, so I might not be holding this very long. I will put in the description box who this is from, because like I said, this is still being sold, and I think it was sold on 123 Stitch, but I'm not sure. Professionally framed again with sort of a green border, and the 2 little cats are just very sweet, just very, very sweet. And lovely colours. This is just a beautiful colour scheme. I really love this one. I hope this is close up enough. So yeah, this also is even weave. A similar count, I think, to all the others I've shown. Yeah, this one is very, very pretty. It's not a full coverage, but it does have very dense stitching in the middle, obviously. But like in the bench, all that what looks white is not stitched. So it's not a massive stitch, but it is very cute. And it's obviously worth a lot more than the $9.99 that I saw it sold for. It might have just been a pattern, but I thought it was a full kit. And I was very surprised, because that's a beautiful piece. Right, that leaves my last piece. And this is the first time I'm going to move the camera. Because it is a very long, thin piece. And first I'm going to show you a picture on the screen so you can actually see it in full. This is a piece, again I don't know who it's from, but it's still being sold. So I will put that in my description box. And they also have different ones. So this is the one with farmhouses in the Netherlands, from different areas in the Netherlands, different farmhouses. But they also have one with boats, they have one with birds or animals, and they have one with windmills. And I've been looking at the windmill one because my shop near my house in Middelburg has the windmill one. And she might have sold it by now, but I've seen it there. And I thought that one was very beautiful too. So yeah, but I think this one with the farmhouses is my favorite of that line that they have. So I'm gonna have to move the camera. So if you're a bit dizzy, or if it makes you dizzy, just look away for a second. So I can move the camera and talk you through it. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 houses on it. And I just need to see what I'm doing. So that's the top. So this house is from Groningen. So those farmhouses you see a lot around here. I'll try and get a bit more closer. There you go. So that's a farmhouse from here. And then if you go down, you go to Friesland, which is it's like a province or a state. We call them provinces in the Netherlands. Could be in the UK you would call it a county. So this is from the county Friesland. So you do see differences in these farmhouses quite easily. Moving down you go to Drenthe, which is the state below Groningen. And again, quite different. Then we go to Overijssel. So we go much more in the middle of the Netherlands now. I think this is very pretty, this one, isn't it? And then we have North Holland. So this is the thing where people often say the Netherlands is Holland. It isn't. We have 2 provinces or 2 counties that are called Holland, North and South. And they are Holland, but the full country is called the Netherlands. And that's South Holland, which I think is my favorite of all of these, but they're all very, very pretty. I'm sorry about the glare. And this is North Brabant, which is next to Zeeland, where I live. So this doesn't have all our provinces. Zeeland's not part of this, for instance, neither is Limburg. So some of them are not mentioned. But I think this is just so pretty. And it is framed by a professional framer. Let me just get this straight again. And I will try to put it up close for those who want to see them up close. This is on even weave. For a moment I thought it was linen, but I think it's even weave. Drenthe. And then you have those farm equipment pieces in between. That one's pretty. And that one's my favorite. And that one's nice too. So yeah, it's a beautiful piece, but it's weird to show you because it is so long. I'm already standing back quite a bit now and you still can't see the whole piece. So we still have to go down like that. There you go. Yeah, very, very pretty. And this one was fully stitched by my grandmother. She stitched a lot. And that is, I will put you back now on the thingy. And that's my chair, so I will come and sit down. So those are all the pieces I can show you. And I think those were quite a lot of lovely, lovely pieces. And a lot of fully finished objects. Now I can't stitch that fast, so I don't have that many yet. Yeah, I love the stitching, and hopefully we'll have some finishes in a month, maybe 2, to show you again. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll go back to me in Zeeland. Thank you.